Welcome to the Style Sports Hub, presented by UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Sports Hub podcast presented by UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics and Lake Sumter State College. I'm your host, Kyle Coppola. We got on with us the Leesburg basketball team today. We got head coach Sean Campbell, and we also have assistant coach D'Mani Nettles. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.
All right, so you guys are off and rolling with your season so far. Describe to us a little bit what's going on, because you guys are coaching both the boys and girls program. That's a little bit of a daunting task for any coaches as far as the varsity level goes. But give us a little insight to the season so far.
First, I want to thank God for giving us the strength and ability to be able to coach two programs. This year, it's going to be a fun year, and we got a tough schedule on the girls' side other than last year. So we have a couple losses. But I would say that our record don't define us on who we are, and that those losses, every loss is not a bad loss, and we've been learning from those losses this year, definitely on the girls' side. And as far as the boys' side, we picking things up now and we getting rolling.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he talked about the strength of the schedule, and of course, the strength of the schedule is through the roof this year. You guys are playing some really good teams. You got a tournament that you're going to as well, which is going to be very, very interesting. Talk about a little bit about the season so far, the tournament that you're going to as well.
I tore my Achilles in the summer, so I'm really just getting back. And I think like all the assistants, they did a great job up until this point, just putting everything together, keeping it rolling on both the boys and the girls side. I know it had to be a lot with me not being there, but I think they done a really good job. But probably about a month ago, I came back. I was cleared to come back to basketball. So just been trying to put everything together. It's a lot of things that we do normally in the summer and the fall, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that we weren't able to do because I wasn't there. So just trying to find time to get our defense right, because the schedule is extremely challenging on both sides, the boys' side and the girls' side. So just growing is the one thing that we've been talking about the most as a coaching staff, but also with the kids, just getting better every day and picking stuff up in a shorter amount of time than normal. But they're built for it, so I feel like we're not where we want to be, but we're where we need to be. We got a couple tournaments coming up going into the Christmas season, so we've really just been practicing, trying to hammer some stuff down, especially these rotations on defense, so that when we go play these Christmas tournaments, we can be successful.
And for you, you've been involved with basketball for a very long time. That must have been very difficult to not be a part of the team. I mean, as far as that goes.
For sure. I was trying to get out of my house as fast as possible, trying to get out of the boot, the cast as fast as possible, just try to get back to the gym. I love being in the gym, so it wasn't even a situation where me being home in a cast where now I got a really good, or developed a love for it. I've always loved it, so it was just like the whole time I just couldn't wait to get back.
People seem to gravitate toward you as well. Whenever I see you in the gym, there's people that surround you. Why is that, D'Mani? Why are people seem like they're drawn to Coach Campbell?
I mean, he's a good person. He really is, and he cares for people, and there's no ill bone in his body. So people attract to good things, and good things attract to each other.
I think it's just because I'm old. I've been around for a while. I know a lot of people, met a lot of people in basketball. And so the basketball community is a large community, but the longer you stay around in it, you start to meet everybody.
The cool thing was before the USIS game this past Friday night, which you guys were able to win wholehandedly, you ended up talking with Coach Nino Green before. It was a lot of love that was being shared within.
It is. We're a really good friend. We probably talk every day. So those games are really fun. Like the rivalry between Leesburg and Eustis is really fun. I usually, like the analogy, it's more like Florida State, Miami, as opposed to Florida State, Florida. It's still a rivalry, but it's just without the nastiness.
Yeah. A little bit of love, and really it was loud. It was a great rivalry. One of the best, I think, in the area and Lake County. It's always fun when you get those two teams going up against each other. And we also had a killer JV game last Friday night. Talk a little bit about that JV game.
Yeah, so our JVs came out tough, and we made a couple of mistakes down the stretch, but we end up pulling it away in overtime.
Yeah, and
Probably the most packed JV game I've ever been to.
it was unbelievable. We had both sides of the gym packed. It was fantastic just to see it. I mean, for those JV kids, that's probably the biggest crowd they have ever played in front of.
It's probably like one of the best experiences that they can have as a young group, to be able to play in a loud gym and to come through and execute at the end of overtime to pull that off.
I mean, it was just as loud in overtime, maybe louder than the varsity game. I mean, the varsity game was pretty good. But as far as that JV game, when it went into overtime, that was one of the loudest I've heard that gym at Leesburg in a very long time, Coach. Must have been just a good atmosphere, especially for the kids in the back to hear that. And then they come out and they had a stellar game. I mean, the JV kind of laid it down.
It is. We talk about that all the time. That's one of the perks of being at Leesburg, just the fan base in the city. But then it's ratcheted up a whole nother notch when you're playing against a Eustis or a Wildwood. So for them, because we talk about it all the time, there's no place in Lake County like Leesburg. And Leesburg basketball, what it's meant to the county for a decade, or probably more than a decade, like even before I got there. It's just
that's team in 77 won it.
Yeah.
So
in 2011 when Marcel was there, man. So like Leesburg basketball has always been really, really good. And I just remember when I got there, I just wanted to build on the legacy that was already like laid down for me before I got there. So to like the young kids coming up, them understanding like what Leesburg basketball means, is different than most schools, especially on the JV side. But for them to play in an environment like that and get like a taste and a feel for that early, it was just an amazing experience.
you have experienced that too, because you come up through the program. You were a young player. He talks about the young players coming up through, and now you're coaching those young players. It must be an interesting dynamic for you.
It is, to see them grow, to see them go through the process kind of reminds me of my process. So I like it, and I'm enjoying the process with them.
For those who don't know your process, what did you have to get through early in your career?
So I started late. I came in 9th grade year, and I was on JV, but I was the manager for the varsity my first year. And then my second year, my freshman summer, after my freshman year, going into my sophomore year, I put in a lot of work. So I am a true witness and a true testifier of and believing in work and what it will outcome if you just continue to stay with it and put in work. And I went on JV again my sophomore year, but I ended up moving up to varsity and ended on my JV year. So I am a testifier and strong believer in if you put in work in that you will have a great outcome, man.
You played also with Keon Ellis, and of course he put a ton of work in, eventually ended up at Alabama, and then now in the NBA with the Sacramento Kings. So you talk about kids that come through the program like that. I mean, that's a proud feeling when you see a kid end up at that level, Coach.
Yeah. And we've had a lot of talent. I think the one thing that maybe separated most of the groups was just that work ethic. When one kid's in the gym and they're working really, really hard, you're going to have a good player. But when the whole team is in there after practice for like 2 hours, 3 hours, you're going to have a really good team. And it's just trying to get that back and get the kids to understand like how much better we'll be as a team, but how much better they'll be individually, just putting in some extra work. And so I feel like we're getting back to that. That's why I'm so excited about this year and this group of kids, even the JV kids, because like I can see the difference in just their work ethic. When I came back, like walking in the gym, seeing like everybody in there as opposed to like 1 or 2 kids, it was just eye-opening and that's why I said my hat's off to like my assistants for just keeping it rolling, but it wasn't even them keeping it rolling. I came back to something better.
Yeah. And I also saw you recently during a game against Wildwood. You had some love with Coach Brown as well.
Yeah.
He's been putting in a ton of work with that Wildwood program over there. They've been to state championship games. Haven't been able to put the state championship together in the last couple of years, but this year, they got a pretty good team.
He got a pretty good chance this year. I actually coach his daughter on AAU level, on travel ball level, so that's how I know him more on a connect level.
Yeah, and it's been fun to watch the rivalries as well in the area. Of course, you got Wildwood and Leesburg. That's always a fun one, and Eustis and Leesburg. Leesburg always seems to be in the center of it, though.
Always. I think we're the center of basketball in the county, but
it's
what can we say?
What can you say exactly? Leesburg, you guys are off to a 3-3 start for the boys so far. Again, you mentioned the tough schedule that you guys have played so far. Getting off to a 3-3 start, how has that been? How have you been able to, as far as the game against Lake Mineola, you guys lost that, but then you rebounded against Eustis. So this team is able to rebound quite well, Coach.
I think we brung back 3 varsity players from last year. So we knew it was going to be some growing pains going into this year, and it's just growing pains. I still feel like we're on pace to do what we're expected to do. Like the expectations at Leesburg are different. They're different from any school I would say in Central Florida. There might be a handful of schools that have the same expectations that we have every year. Not just a couple of years, but every year we expect to be in the running for a state championship. So getting these kids just to learn how to win, because it's a fairly new group outside of those 3 kids that we brought back.
Yeah.
So just them understanding winning is about daily habits. And so if your daily habits are good, the score is going to take care of itself. But that's a process. So we're learning and growing. I love where we're at right now, though.
I enjoy watching Angelo Moten out there. I mean, he's been fun to watch. You got Evan James that came back this season. Man, you want to talk about a great guard. He's been putting the work in as well. Really, his ball control has improved vastly this year, Coach.
Just him maturing. Because we do have a lot of young guys, and we're playing a lot of young guys, not just for this year, but just for the future. So it's just his leadership is kind of like what we've been missing more than anything. So to have him back is amazing, and Jello is Jello. Like
Jello is Jello.
I don't know where we would be without him. But like he's been big for us, especially scoring the ball.
It definitely helped during the Eustis game as well. That was a tight game for a while. You took off late, but let's talk about the effort of your team as far as that game goes.
Yeah, the effort was there. Like they've been talking about it the whole week in practice. Like, yeah, we ready. They seen the podcast, they seen everything, so they was ready to come out and play hard versus Eustis. So I just want them to take that same effort that they had and apply it to everybody and apply it to every game.
Yeah, we had, of course, Nino Green on last week with us. He was talking a little smack on the show, but ended up laying it down. But you guys got it done at the end of the day. We're going to take a short break here on the Sports Hub. We're going to come back and talk more with head coach Sean Campbell and D'Mani Nettles.
Is pain or restricted range of motion keeping you on the sidelines? Get back in the game with expert orthopedic care from UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics. UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics provides robotic-assisted surgical joint repairs and replacements, post-operative care, and inpatient rehabilitation services, all close to home, right here in Lake and Sumter counties. And for those unexpected injuries, UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics offers convenient walk-in and same-day appointments. To learn more or to schedule an appointment with one of their specialists, call 352-323-5665.
Hey everybody, we are back here on the Sports Hub podcast talking with head coach Sean Campbell with Leesburg High School and D'Mani Nettles, the assistant coach with the basketball programs. You both coach the boys and girls varsity programs. Wanted to talk a little bit about the girls program. Talked a little bit about the boys in the last segment, but the girls currently 3-4 on the season. What a year though that they've had, showing a lot of potential. Ariana Hester, 14.9 points per game, 104 points so far this year, and Alicia Smith, 14.4 points per game and 101 points overall. And then you got Sage McLeod, who's a bit injured right now. Hopefully she's able to come back. But seems like it's been a fairly good start to the year for y'all.
An amazing start. Like outside of the records, I don't really look at records. I look at the process, and we're improving so much. Even without Sage, I think there's a blessing in everything. Had a couple of losses without Sage. She's such a big piece of what we do on offense and defense. But like I've seen growth in other players with her being out, so that when we get her back, there's no telling what we could be. It's gonna be through the roof when she come back. Just watching the other girls like develop and grow with extra opportunities on both ends of the floor, and our young bigs to watch them develop. It's just been amazing to watch.
Yeah, you got also Anaya Hester, the two Hester sisters, Ariana and Anaya Hester. They both play out there, and they've held it down. But so, who are some of the pro players that have impressed you this year, D'Mani?
One of the pro players is Morgan Campbell. She have really is coming in as a freshman and to be able to come in and defend the best player on each team every game is tough, and I can attest to that as a defender myself. So it's a tough job to do that and contribute to the team.
For sure. And then you also have Alicia Smith, who is a freshman coming in. Boy, she's impressed everybody this season. Wow, what a player. Talk about her.
Man, it's just been amazing to watch her as a young guard. I think I have two of the best like freshman guards in the area. And like to watch them play, just not even so much in games, to watch them compete in practice versus our older guards is like amazing. They're competitors, and they compete at an extremely high level, and they're tough-minded kids. So like the future of the program is so bright, but they're not waiting for the future, and they don't take a back seat, and that's what I love about both of them. Alicia, she can score the ball with the best of them. She's been shooting it really, really well of late. And just her ceiling is also like through the roof, man. I don't think she has a ceiling. And what she could become is just, I shudder to think about what she could be, because she could be really special.
And for you coming back to the program the last month, which had been great to have you back. What did you first think when you saw her? Because when did you first see her out there throwing it down?
So I came back probably like a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months, and I'm in practice, and I want to say she was warming up, and like I've been around basketball for a long time. Watching her warm up, I was like, well, where did she come from? He was smiling, so I'm just like, I didn't know what was going on, but like we got into practice, and just her confidence is what stood out like the most to me immediately. She's super confident in her skill and her ability. And so like, man, it was like that first day I was like, oh my gosh. Cause we brung back pretty much the same team from last year. So to have like two freshmen with the ability and the talent that they have is just, oh my God. I was excited the first day I walked in the gym watching them warm up.
So when you're obviously a coach, what do you look for out of a player? When you see a young player, what kind of philosophies are you looking for?
I just look for them to compete, because oftentimes that the older kids try to like bully them. Nah, I want you to compete at a high level, because if we competing at a high level in practice, we're gonna go into games and we're gonna compete, and it's gonna feel like real easy to us. So yesterday we had like a real tough practice competing versus our young kids and our oldest kids, and that's all I ask for is for them to compete.
Is that what you look for as well in a player?
Yeah. As coaches, it sounds arrogant, but like every coach feels like they can fix a player. but there are like basic things that players have to have. And one of those is just strong-willed, strong-minded kids who compete. Like no matter who they're up against, like if you can start there, you're gonna be special, because like we can fix everything else, the ball handling and the shooting, those skills. You just stay in the gym long enough, you'll get better at those. But just like having the will to win and the will to compete, that's special.
Yeah. What's the most difficult part about being a coach and a longtime coach in Lake County? You're one of the longest tenured coaches in this area. What has been the most challenging but rewarding part for you?
I think the challenging thing for me is just like getting up every year for a new season. Just had so many memories of players and just teams, and just understanding that every season is going to be different. Trying to get myself up for the new seasons, but like I was saying about the young kids, like walking in the gym and seeing those young kids, it gets you excited. Like even if you're not ready when you walk in, like to see something like that and to see like how special they are, like right now as freshmen, and what they could become if they put in the work. But just us as coaches is if we prepare them, because it's a two-way street. I think it goes hand in hand. Everybody looks at a good player, or everybody talks about a good coach, but it's the work that they do together that is what makes the situation special.
Is there a favorite moment that you've ever had that you can share with us, Coach Nettles, that you've had in your career? I mean, whether it was a player, whether it was a college, whether it's as a coach. I mean, there's been so many things that have happened in your young life already. I mean, you're a realtor, you're a business owner, you're a coach, you're going after your BA right now, which is fantastic. You're very inspirational to a lot of young people.
Yeah.
Favorite moment, I got a lot. One of my favorite moments was when I was in college. My first playoff game ever, scored like 32 points off straight mid-ranges, two field goals. And I called this guy right here after the game and let him know. And then before I went to college, we were just having a whole debate about it yesterday. I had scored like a game winner, but it wasn't a game winner, but I had scored like an almost game winner versus Evans. And atmosphere and that game was one of my favorite moments.
For sure. As far as you, I mean, you've had so many moments. I mean, you're a state champion, two-time state champion at this point. You've done so much for the area, for Lake County, in Central Florida, and just around. Do you have any favorite moments that maybe stick out to you?
Oh, that's just so many. To be honest, though, it's not so much the games. It's more so practice. I enjoy it. I enjoy practice a lot, and that is what I fell in love with as a coach. Practices, because the games, like he said, games are easy when we can compete at practice. Like yesterday was a special moment. Watching the girls compete, and it wasn't a game. It wasn't like a state championship, but that's gonna help us to get to the state championship. So like those moments in practice where you can see somebody have like an aha moment where they figure out something in their game, or when we as a group just get a better understanding of a concept, like that is what I live for.
And to piggyback off that, he's definitely right. When I was a sophomore, those practices going against Keon Ellis, Dre, Corey Patterson, Jyree McLeod, those tough practices actually got me better going into my junior and senior year. So that's what make you better as a team, and that's what make you better as an individual.
So for all the kids out there, especially, that practice makes perfect, right? I mean, there's so many things out there that you can refine in practice, and I really like how every time I talk to people, they're always like, well, you guys are always there, you guys leave the gym open. It's so important for these kids to have just an opportunity to go out there and practice, and you guys are there for them, especially you, Coach.
That's the job. I tell people all the time, especially young coaches that are getting into basketball and high school basketball, your job is less on the Thursday nights and more on those other days. Just building relationships with kids and being there for them. That is the actual job. Building great players, but building great people is the job. And to have a good group of kids and to help them grow and develop and become like good people, good adults, good citizens, that is more worthwhile than anything. I've been doing it so long, man. I got kids that are back home coaching, and that's the enjoyable part, like watching him grow, watching him develop, not just as a high school kid, but like as an adult, turning into a young man, and just it's been amazing. That's the memories that I take back from coaching.
And we're going to take one final break here on the Sports Hub, and when we come back, we'll wrap up next with Leesburg.
Are you ready for your future to take flight? Whether you're graduating high school or looking to level up, Lake Sumter State College offers affordable degrees and certificates that will punch your ticket to success in a rewarding career. Plus, with programs like Direct Connect to UCF, your opportunities with LSSC are endless. So, what are you waiting for? Join us in Leesburg, Claremont, Sumterville, Four Corners, or online. Learn more at lssc.edu.
We're back here on the Sports Hub talking with Leesburg basketball, and wanted to ask head coach Sean Campbell about relationships. You build so many relationships over the course of your career. Talk a little bit about that.
It's the relationship piece is the most important part. When kids, when they come in, it's not a lot that I can promise. I can't promise a kid that they're going to the NBA. I can promise them that I'll do everything in my power to get them into college, but I can't promise them that they're going to the NBA. A lot of that is genetics. A lot of that is hard work. So that can't be my only focus as a coach. My focus as a coach is developing a relationship so that even if they don't become NBA players, if they're truck drivers, if they go to the military, that we can still have that relationship, that they know that I'm going to always be there for them no matter what it is that they do, no matter where they go. I'm always a phone call away. And if it's in my power and my will, whatever they need, I'm going to make sure that they have it. So that's the job. That's the job.
Comes down to a head coach as well. And of course, you're developing relationships with not only the boys on the varsity team, the girls, and just everybody that comes in as well and talks to you. Talk a little bit about the relationships and so maybe something that he's taught you over the years.
Well, recently he's been teaching me patience with everything. And I tend to...
He's hot-headed.
Yeah, just a little bit. I tend to... I don't know, goes off a little quick, but he teaches me patience with everything and how to sit back and listen to conversations and not react off of emotions.
Patience is key too, as well, Coach.
Yeah, it's. I try to, even the kids, I try to teach them. This life is a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. Like basketball is also a roller coaster, and it's. If you're super emotional when you're up and you're super emotional when you're down, like you're going to be all over the place because you're going to be a roller coaster. But just being like even keel and just understanding. My middle school coach used to say this all the time. Every time like you win, it doesn't mean that everything is good. And vice versa. Every time you lose, it doesn't mean that everything's all bad. But just finding like a even place to stand and have firm footing, whether you're up or down, you'll survive anything.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely trying to survive through it and just stay on the even keel. And really, that's what that's when I see your team out there, they're so level-headed. They try their best and they go out there, and it's the reason you're having success early on in the season. And and I think that success is going to continue as well. You guys seem like you guys are
more to come.
Yeah,
more to come.
Definitely more to come. Very very interesting. After the season, after the new year too, you guys have a fun schedule coming up as well.
Especially on the girl side.
Yeah, it's going to be
we play two of the top number teams in the state of Florida on the girls' side, and Winter Haven and Dr. Phillips. So that's going to be like two of our toughest games coming out of Christmas break and New Year's.
Those Orlando teams are always always interesting to go up against.
Because you throw CFCA in there, and it's going to help us 1,000%. If we play how we're capable of playing that week, I think it's just setting us up for what we're going to see when we get in the playoffs. And I'm not worried about, like, a record. I'm more worried about, like, us seeing different defenses, different ways that other teams try to come in and play us. And if we can just handle it and make adjustments throughout the season, we'll be ready for anything when the playoffs come. And so I was a little nervous about the schedule coming in, but everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Even Sage's injury, I think it was right on time, as crazy as it sounds, because we're going to need a couple of those girls that are playing major minutes to step up in the playoffs. So I'm excited.
It's going to be an exciting rest of the season for Leesburg High. I want to appreciate both of you coming in on and talking with us on the program. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it and wrap it up for this week's edition of the Sports Hub. I want to thank our partners, UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics and Lake Sumter State College, for making this program possible. We'll see you on the next edition next week.
This has been the Style Sports Hub, presented by UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics.